seeds and little pieces of charcoal and stuff like that. And then we can send that out and actually
We're excavating right now. We've got some shell coming out and some really cool stuff. Even though it may not look like it's extensive, we are also fairly early on in the big excavation. We're going to be out here another couple of weeks. This particular excavation we're going to highlight today is one of many that we've done up and down the corridor for the Little Heaven project. This is probably the most interesting one, so we did want to highlight that for the project. And this is all under federal law with the use of federal funds for the transportation project. I think currently the project is slated for summer of 2014 to begin construction, but that's still pending the prioritization of the capital transportation plan.
Ground is sort of like a layer cake, where you have icing, cake, icing, cake. And what we do is we date the layers of the ground by the artifacts that we find here. And it gives us an idea roughly of the socioeconomic class of the people that we're dealing with. What we've got here is just a selection of the artifacts that we've got here. And by the majority of them are refined earthenwares or very high level stuff. And everything we've got here dates to the mid to late 18th century, which is like 1750 to 1800. At the moment, we don't have anything that's after that date. But we've got, for example, we've got a nice piece of Wealden, scratch blue. Some of the forms that we've got here are very interesting as well.
Fairly shallow, certainly less than a foot in most places. The farmer came out, he plowed it, we walked along, we looked for artifacts on the surface and in the plow zone. And then what we did is we took a map using GIS, Global Information Systems, and we plotted out the locations of all the individual artifacts. Based on that, we looked for concentrations of specific types of artifacts. Phase 2, I said that we uncovered a feature. What we uncovered here, and it's not as obvious as it may seem, but when you get to scraping it all down, what happened was we found a stain. And it's basically that side over there. And in that stain, we found some of these pockets of these 18th century artifacts. So then that prompted the additional excavations. And that's what we did out here. And then as we exposed this feature, we then uncovered a second feature of similar shape and size. What our method of continuing the actual feature excavation is then to actually break them down into these 1 by 1 meter squares. And we are excavating them individually so that we can control the amount or the items that are actually coming from each of the different parts of the feature. In case we find that it's not one just big large pit feature, it's multiple smaller pits within a larger pit.
It's out life on a creamware body, and it comes only from Europe. It isn't manufactured here at all. Wow. And it's a very high level item. It starts about, as I said, about maybe 1750s or so, and it stops by the Revolutionary War. It's done. So if you're going to find anything out here after that time period, it's either passed on, and it's a very high level ware. It's a very refined ware, something you don't find very often. And we're finding a lot of that stuff on here.
To the manufacturer, where they're coming from. So yeah, I like to take down because I don't know what you have, but I'm wondering if this kind of overlays this.
So Mike, it appears to be going well with Ace listed.
Yeah, I think.
I'm not seeing it.
I'm not sure, but I would just start taking that down and then see what the relationship is a little bit.
Okay, yeah.